The Waikato and Waipā rivers cut through the center of New Zealand's North Island. They cover a massive 25,000 square kilometers and have served as the economic and cultural identity of the region for centuries. But decades of intense agricultural runoff have taken a severe toll. Waterways that used to be safe for swimming and food gathering are now frequently choked by algal blooms. The water carries elevated, dangerous levels of nitrogen, phosphorus, sediment, and E. coli. To stop this decline, local authorities and iwi, Maori tribal groups, established a legally binding mandate called Te Turi Waimana. It is an 80-year vision designed to completely restore the health of both rivers. Enforcing a multi-generational goal requires immediate, highly disruptive rules. That regulatory vehicle is known as Plan Change 1, or PC1. This timeline visualizes the math of PC1. While the ultimate goal spans 80 years, the legislation requires a mandatory 20% improvement in water quality within the very first 10 years of the plan going into effect. Achieving that steep drop means targeting the primary source of the pollution. In the Waikato, that is non-point source discharge, the cumulative runoff of fertilizers and animal waste washing off thousands of surrounding farms into the river system. Because the contaminants are inextricably tied to how the land is used, restoring the river requires capping the region's traditional high-yield farming practices. Under PC1, nearly every dairy, drystock, and arable farm in the catchment must operate under a mandatory farm environment plan. These plans enforce strict operational limits. Farmers are now legally required to document and redesign their properties to meet exacting standards for soil stability, effluent management, and the physical layout of farm races and laneways. A farm's viability is now calculated through strict metrics like the nitrogen risk scorecard and the nitrogen leaching loss rate. These tools mathematically cap how much nitrogen a property is allowed to release into the soil. If a moderate or high-intensity farm exceeds these limits, they lose the right to operate freely. They must navigate the local government and secure legal resource consents simply to continue their daily operations. For generations, a farmer measured success by agricultural yield. Today, their primary metric of survival is regulatory compliance. The policy demands immediate, heavy infrastructure. Within a 5-year window, farmers must exclude livestock from water bodies on slopes up to 10 degrees. Reading this submission from a local farmer, you can see the direct financial panic this causes. Hill country drystock farmers face massive logistical costs to build miles of new fencing, but they operate without the high cash flow of the dairy industry to pay for it. The dairy sector is also exposed. While dairy farms generally generate higher revenues, many carry severe debt loads. Forcing these highly leveraged operations to suddenly fund new, expensive environmental mitigations pushes them toward insolvency. According to this modeling report, the dairy sector absorbs roughly half of the total value-added decrease across the region. The policy threatens widespread job losses and a potential 18% drop in overall catchment-level income. The environmental debt of the river is being paid down directly through the equity of rural businesses, bringing with it a very real risk of generational farm foreclosures. The tension between clean water and economic survival sparked a legal battle stretching over a decade, culminating in a 2026 Environment Court decision. Looking at this flyer from Federated Farmers, it's clear how hard agricultural advocates pushed back. They fought through years of mediation to ensure the new rules were physically implementable and wouldn't trigger a total economic collapse. The court ultimately reached a compromise. Low-risk, low-intensity farms were classified as permitted activities, meaning they can operate without applying for expensive resource consents. In exchange, strict controls were locked in for high-intensity operations. Despite the legal adjustments, the grace period is officially over. In the Waikato, the practice of unregulated high-intensity land use has been permanently capped. PC1 represents a permanent shift in the region's economic logic. These farmers are the pioneers of an 80-year experiment, where food production is no longer the primary goal, but is instead definitively capped by the survival of the river.